And we are recording, and I'm muting myself. Ellen, turning it over to you. I'll let anybody else in that pops up.
Okay, thank you. I want to welcome everybody. It's so nice to see so many faces, and so nice to see all the faces that I can't see, but I know you're there anyways. So welcome, and I'm only going to speak for just a quick minute. For the ladies, our Beth David ladies, I just want to remind everybody that Tuesday, March 21st, the Tikkun group, they're packing those hygiene kits at the shul from 7 to 8:30. If anybody wants to go and help pack the items that we raised for them, help them raise. So that's next Tuesday. And the only other thing that I want to mention is that we will be having an auction. So if anybody would like to bid on the delicious item that you'll find out what we're having, please send your bid. The bids are starting at $25. So send your bid to the chat to Noreen Kasman, and we'll let you know who. Yes, Noreen. That's Noreen.
Just so they know who I am.
Okay, that's Noreen. So at the end of the evening, we'll let the lucky person know who is going to eat delicious desserts. Anyways, I'm going to turn it over to not Murray, but Rachel. You're on mute. Oh.
I'm going to start here. I'm going to turn it back to myself for a second, just to let you know that I was super excited to be here as a camera person, but I'm also going to be fielding questions. So if anybody has questions throughout this presentation, put them in the chats. For the auction, it's to Noreen, but if you have a question, you can just put them to everyone, and I'll be looking down at them, and I'm going to be my mom's sidekick here, asking her questions, and she can multitask while she's cooking as well. So feel free about ingredients, where to buy things, or other types of stuff as well. And without much further ado, let me turn it over to my mom. So we're going to get started. Okay, here she is.
Hi there. You may or may not know me. Most of you do. I'm Judy Urowitz, and I did some demonstration a couple of years ago for Hanukkah, different type of latkes I think we did. And tonight I'm going to be doing some Passover desserts, hopefully more than one. So the first dessert, first of all, I should tell you that this is my upstairs kitchen, which is my chumetz kitchen, but I did make sections of it pesadika. So whoever wins the dessert, it'll be pesadika dessert. So you don't have to worry about that. I have a kitchen in the basement, which is my Passover kitchen, and I did a lot of the pre-prep down there. So this is where we're going to start making frozen lemon cake. Famous frozen lemon cake, which I believe I saw caterers selling it for last Pesach for $65, which is outrageous. So the first thing I must tell you is that this is my favorite dessert. And I think most people in my family, from my not my youngest grandchild, she can't eat it, she's allergic. But from my youngest grandson to the oldest in the family, which is my husband, this is their favorite Passover dessert. So basically, I was first introduced to it at a simcha many years ago, and I fell in love with it immediately for a couple of reasons. First of all, I realized it could be made as a Pesach dessert, Passover dessert. It could be made in advance and frozen. So it's one thing you don't have to think about the last minute, because you have this dessert in the freezer. The second reason I fell in love with that is that it was pretty easy to make and pretty cheap to make. And today's market, maybe not so cheap, but it really is just sugar and eggs and lemon juice. So I'm going to get started. Oh, I should tell you that I did fall in love with it, and I tried for a long time to figure out how it was made. And I knew it was made with some sort of a lemon custard, but I could never get the right consistency. And it never was the way I had it at the Simcha. Then in 1985, I came across this magazine, which used to be published in Toronto. It was a magazine dealing with fine foods. And they had an article by the caterer, Peter Graben, in this magazine. And lo and behold, there was the recipe. You can see how I've used it. It's all beaten up. There was the recipe, frozen lemon meringue. And that's the secret, the fact that it has a meringue incorporated into the lemon. There's meringue on the top, but there's also meringue in the lemon. And that's what makes it easy to cut and fluffy. So we're going to get started. So basically, it's just a lemon curd. So the recipe is 3 egg yolks, which I'm going to put into this Pyrex dish. 3 egg yolks and 3 whole eggs. 1.5 cups of sugar. Excuse me, not 1.5 cups. 1.25 cups. We save the other half for the topping. 1.25 cups of sugar and 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Now you're going to see me using this Mickey Mouse squeezer. Every Pesach, I say, I must get myself a proper squeezer.
Now I know what to get you as a gift for Pesach this year.
But I keep forgetting. So I have to squeeze by hand on this little plastic dollar store squeezer.
It's working pretty well.
It works, but it's a little harder than having a proper squeezer. So that's 1.5 cups, I think. I did some before, maybe not. A little under. So basically, I think it's about 3 lemons. We just get another lemon. Here's my back.
That's a good tip if you want to get more juice out of the lemon.
Okay, you can 2 things. You can microwave it for a couple of moments. Or I heard something last week, you can freeze the lemons.
Oh, really?
And then thaw them out, and they're juicier. I haven't tried it.
Has anyone tried that? That's interesting.
Okay, the other thing, after you get your juices squeezed out here, add that to the sugar and the eggs. And then you need some zest. So I found another hack online. So many things you learn online. If you put a piece of parchment paper over your grater and then grate the washed lemons like this. Just 1/2 a lemon. Zest from 1/2 a lemon. You take off the paper. You can scrape it right into the ingredients. And then you don't have to clean out the zester. You know, it's very finicky to get that out of there. Of course, you can leave the lemon zest out also. It isn't necessary. It's just a little added bonus.
I like it. Give it some texture.
Okay, the other thing that I do, when you mix it up so it's all incorporated, the yolks and the whites together, whisk. And the recipe says you should on a double boiler until it's the consistency of pudding. Well, I don't have a paste at the double boiler, but I do have a microwave. And I much faster than sending over a stove. So my microwave is under here, and I'm going to put it in the microwave. And over the years, I figured out the exact timing.
Are you going to share the secret with us?
So that you don't, I'm going to share the secret with you. It's increments of, let me get it right. I have it written down here. Increments of 2 minutes and 2 minutes. So it's 2 minutes, and then you stir it, whisk it, and then another 2 minutes, and it's perfect consistency on high temperature. So we're gonna do that right now.
How many times did it take you to figure out this?
A while, because I had some
equation?
scrambled eggs for a while.
You don't want to do that.
All right, let's get this out of the way.
Here, I'll take it for you. I'm gonna back here.
I'm gonna start the next part.
You're done with these ones?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So you remember, I told you it was 3 whole eggs and 3 egg yolks. So when you have 3 egg yolks, what do? This is what you do. This is the secret. The egg whites, you have to beat those into soft peaks with the last 1/4 cup of sugar. So I'm going to start beating it. Now this is my I'm very lucky to have this Passover stand mixer, but you can do it with a hand mixer, a regular hand mixer. And you could also, if you're have a very strong arm, beat it by hand with a whisk in a bowl.
Or a very strong son-in-law. She once asked my husband to do that.
So I'm gonna
he did
turn
a
this
pretty good
on.
job, actually.
We plug it in.
Yes, you have to really be committed to do that by hand.
That whisking it. Any questions?
People are wondering about how you're going to do the recipe. So we'll be share.
I can
So
share.
yeah, so what we're going to have to do is make sure that so that people don't have to be writing it down. Because obviously you want to watch now. So I'm going to share it with the organizers, and I'm sure they have them the email list.
Type of meringue that you put into the custard. Meringue like you would use to make cookies or macaroons. It's a soft meringue. Start adding the sugar when it gets bubbly. Midcast is the only sugar company in Ontario that has sugar that's good for Passover. And they have a little key next to their core. Here we go. Right there.
And the size of
You see it?
yeah, very good. The size for the Canadian, you get COR, and then of course the little T because of the Passover beside it. That's a good tip, so you don't have to worry about the sugar the red top has it.
Also, they're brown sugar. So you very slowly incorporate sugar into the egg whites. A little bit. Form soft peaks. Show you what that looks like in a moment. Second 2 minutes on the custard. Let it right now. And we've just about reached the right consistency. There you go. So it's soft peaks. Can you see that?
See, yeah. So let me get in there with the camera.
They're not stiff and they're not glossy. When you're making meringue or not a meringue, what do they call it? Like the hard meringues, cookies. You want a stiffer and a shinier meringue. Egg whites rather for the meringue. There you go. You can see it's kind of drippy.
That's good.
So it's
So it's
just
still holding a little bit, but it's not stiff.
correct.
And that's just 3 eggs, so look how nice and fluffy they get. That didn't blow up like that.
Three egg
on
whites.
this one. Good. And I just typed to everybody because there's a few questions about the recipe itself. So we're going to send the recipe to the organizers right after tonight. And then anyone who's registered or knows how to reach out to the organizers can get it. And then what we'll do is, if there's any questions on any of the products, people can still reach out and Judy's happy to answer. But as she said, most things are really simple to get, and that's why it's great for Passover, right? I will say while we're waiting for the microwave, that it is truly my favorite. And actually, my son Jonah asks for it often. His birthday is in May, so it's just after Pesach. But sometimes it's just towards the last few days, and he likes this as his birthday cake. It's his favorite. Remember the old days, Mommy used to make birthday cakes out of soaked sheets of matzah. This is very different. Remember those days?
Oh, yes. Dripped in, soaked in wine.
Yeah, soaked. So sometimes soaked in Manischewitz wine. Maybe that's what we liked it because we were drunk. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. Anyone else do that cake? That was a classic.
Here it comes. Okay. Eat it up.
So it's really bubbly.
It's a perfect pudding-like consistency.
Amazing that you can get that from no double boiler, just right in the microwave. So 2 times 2 minutes, and you whisk it in between.
There you go.
Amazing.
So to that, I'm going to add the whites.
Wait for it to cool at all? Or no?
Probably, but it'll be all right.
I guess it'd be tempered. It's okay. Ideally, we would wait a little bit sometimes to cool it. We're going for it.
I could have had an ice bath, but I didn't think I had.
We're going with time. We'll make it work.
Cool it down a little bit. Let some air into it. And here we go. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of the whites into the yellow, into the lemon.
That'll temper it a bit anyway.
Yeah.
So you won't get scrambled eggs for sure.
And then I'm going to add that mixture into the rest of the whites.
By the way, it smells really good. The lemon smell is really intense.
Scrape every last bit out. Oh. Blend them together.
You like to use a whisk when you're doing that to keep the air in?
Definitely.
That's good because I think a lot of people use a spatula, so that's a good secret tip.
Keeps it nice and fluffy. That's what you want. Okay, I'm going to set that aside and we're going to make the crust. So the original recipe, Peter Graven's recipe, calls for making mandel bread and then crushing up the mandel bread. And I looked at that recipe and said, I'm not going to go through the effort of making mandel bread and then crushing it up. So what else can I do? So during the year, of course, I make it with graham crackers or graham cracker cookies that I crush up and press it into the pie crust or into a springform pan, which we're going to use today. So this is a 9-inch springform pan. You know what a springform pan is? It has a loose bottom. And what I did is I mixed up a combination of matzo farfo, which I ground up in my food processor. I have a Passover food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you could put it in a plastic bag like this, and then just use something to roll over it, like even a bottle, a wine bottle, until you crush it to get this consistency of crumbs, similar to graham crackers. To that, I added some brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm trying to remember because I didn't write down. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons of margarine, that expensive margarine that I went to buy.
Passover margarine is very expensive. We're warning you. This year, everything is very expensive.
Prepared this 1 pound block of margarine, which isn't even the best margarine, I think, but it's the only one I could get at Sobeys, was $10.68.
What?
normally sells for about, during the year, I don't know, kosher margarine sells for maybe $2 and change.
Well, maybe 20 years ago. Not reasonably.
But it's
But
certainly
about
not-
$4.
certainly
It's
not-
not that price. Yeah,
Certainly
that's,
not $10.
that is a lot.
Certain that, I also added, I said brown sugar, white sugar, vanilla extract, and some lemon extract. Geffen makes lemon extract. I think you can find it in the bigger stores.
Could they use zest instead if they wanted to? in the
You could
crust?
use zest or lemon juice. And because it wasn't holding together, I wanted to hold together like this.
You should
I
do
added
that
a
again, so
little bit of
it's-
oil, maybe about
So the margarine wasn't enough, I
Yeah.
guess. It needs a little
about
more.
4 tablespoons of oil.
Probably because the matzah meal sucks it up.
It
probably,
does.
Right?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the pan. Oh, this was 8 cups. This was 8 cups of matzah farfel that I ground up.
But once again, the recipe will be shared, so you don't need to be, writing down each and every one of these things now. Now, could people get creative with the crust? Could they use, like, I know they sell Passover ladies' fingers.
Oh, yes, that would be wonderful. If you could find Passover lady fingers, I've done that over the years.
Actually, I saw some in Metro, so those of you who are in Toronto, run and get them at
Oh,
Lawrence.
Had I
should've bought
known,
them.
I would have
But
bought
there
them.
they called them baby fingers, which was quite funny because I think they're smaller in size, so. And that's about me. And what else could they use, let's say?
Oh, I've used
Passover?
soup nuts. I've ground up
Wow.
soup nuts. I've
That's
done that
creative.
over the years. I think that's about it. Because basically everything this time of year is really made out of matzah
Yeah.
at one form or another.
Someone actually suggested, so Mona and Owen, or I guess Mona has suggested, instead of matzah farfel, people don't want that. If there's gluten issues, maybe I would think you could use almond flour, maybe.
Almond
right?
flour.
That would be nice. And she said she did that with crushed margarine and some smashed macaroons. Ooh, that would be delicious. Mona,
I've done
sounds
that with
good.
the strawberry dessert, a strawberry mousse dessert. I've done
Oh, yes, with
macaroons.
macaroon, you did that,
Macaroons,
that's
yeah.
right. That would be delicious though. And actually ground almonds for people who are gluten-free, because I know not everyone likes to eat so much matzah. That's a very nice option.
And that's a relatively new thing, is the ground almonds.
Yeah, there's a brand here that sells it. I can't remember the name of the brand, but they have all sorts of lovely nut flours for Passover. They're already out. They sell them year round. There's almond flour. They also have a chestnut flour.
Mm.
They have all sorts of nice things.
If you're not allergic to nuts, it'd be
Yeah,
great.
if you're not allergic, it's a nice way to be gluten-free and a little different kind of.
So you can see how
Like
nice
oil.
it goes in so easy, right? That's consistency. Up the sides. If you were using lady fingers, you would put them on the bottom and up and line them up around the edge, around the sides.
So Doreen asked if we'd ever made it gluten-free, and I don't think you have, but we actually have some celiac people in our family. And I know there's some celiac people out there that I know personally in your audience today. So, so yeah, those nut options I think would be the way to
Mhm,
go.
be
I think it
great.
would be delicious.
Macaroons for sure.
And macaroons is a great idea.
Um,
No problem, Mona. I want to come over and try yours now.
Just take a glass,
So that's a good tip. Okay, so that's to get it into the corners, right? Let's
yeah,
see.
press it down so it's nice and firm. This actually is going to get baked for 10 minutes.
Can I ask a quick question? You ground up the matzah farfel. Could you just use matzah meal?
Well, I wanted a certain consistency. The matzah meal is kind of
Too
fine.
fine? Too
Fine.
Flour, yeah.
Okay,
And this is more like graham crackers, I think.
That's why
gotcha.
I like the idea of the macaroons even more than just ground
Mhm.
almond flour,
Yeah.
because it actually does give you that like mouthfeel, right? A little bit of texture. And
Mm-hmm.
you can, these days they sell, for Passover, all the macaroons with different flavors. So you can have like
Mhm.
chocolate, they have. some
Do they have
with
lemon?
vanilla.
I don't know.
Actually, if they had
would be
lemon, it would
nice.
be delicious. I saw one year was, no, that's a banana strawberry, never mind, but they do sometimes have different flavors.
Okay, I'm going to stick this in the oven for 10 minutes and then start on something else.
Don't worry, she has other things to show you in the meantime. We don't have to just wait for that. So. Okay, in the meantime, I'll turn it back to me. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm over here fielding the questions, so just wanted to
Do this.
say hi as well.
Okay. I came across this last year, this recipe. They call it matzah crack.
It's amazing.
Crack because it's addicting.
We are not condoning drug use in any way. This is delicious.
Matzah crack. You line up whatever matzahs will fit your tray. Put some parchment paper down first. And I've cooked on the stove. Find the recipe. Here we go. Took this off a site called Nasher online. And the ingredients are matzah, a cup of unsalted butter, a cup of packed dark margarine, dark sugar. And you boil that on the stove and pour it over the matzah.
So you're making a caramel then, I guess.
You're making
right?
caramel, exactly. Oh, I should have started it before. So we're going to wait until that melts a bit. Any questions?
Any questions so far on things? Or any recommendations on things that you guys have used or flavor combinations? Has anyone made the lemon frozen before? So, oh, I see. Noreen says, what's addictive, the lemon or the crack?
Oh, the crack is more addicting than the lemon.
Yeah, it really is. My husband comes over and just, he can't stop. He really has no control.
Well, David would eat anything.
He's lucky because he's very tall and thin, so he can just eat anything he wants. Yeah,
I was mentioning in the chat that that helpful hint for zesting the lemon. I do the same thing for grating ginger that way.
very smart.
Smart. Oh, I should tell you that this is lemon, but you can also use any citrus. You can make it with orange. And during the year, I've done it with orange with chocolate cookie crumbs,
Yeah,
which
it's-
is
that's
really good.
delicious.
And I've done it with lime and graham cracker crust. So it's sort of like a key lime pie. And you could also layer it if you're ambitious. If you have a big springform pan, you could double it and make one layer, one flavor citrus, and another layer, another flavor citrus. You could maybe even do some cookie crumbs in between
That'd be good. I would
the
like that.
layers. So that's taking a recipe and making it your own.
I guess it depends on what
I-
you have and what's.
I do the same recipe, but I make it chocolate instead of lemon curd.
And who's that, Judy?
Exactly the same ingredients, except for the lemon.
So what do? Melt the
I
chocolate?
melt chocolate,
Uh-huh.
either
Okay.
chocolate chips or the chocolate bar.
Judy, that would be good. I'm coming over. I might
With
just,
pleasure.
no, I love it. Judy's an amazing, all Judy seems to be terrific cooks.
Okay, so here we go. This is melting the butter with brown sugar, and also it's Ridpath's brown sugar. It's the first year I bought it. I used to get some that came from the States, and then I discovered Ridpath's. Canadian made, Ontario
Look
made.
at that. Let's see that K for P, the core for P. There it is.
There you go.
P for Passover. That does not mean par. People sometimes get confused. Whenever there's a P like that, it means Passover. So that's kind of nice that they now have that hechsher on there. That's great.
But
Okay,
don't
here you
buy
go.
the icing sugar. It's not kosher Pesach, even though it has a P on it. It has
Oh.
cornstarch in it.
Oh, so it's quinoa only.
So is it also made by Ridpath?
Yeah,
I
Well,
haven't
that's sneaky
seen
then.
that.
That's very sneaky because if it's does it say on it that it's quinoa or only it's for a start or it's it
no,
doesn't
just a
matter?
P.
Interesting. Okay, so that's
I mean, it
important.
may be different in different stores.
No, that's good to know actually. So it's
Yeah, I
always-
would-
Cor put out a notice that the icing sugar was not for Passover.
Yeah, yeah.
no, it's only for Sephardim.
I buy the confectioner sugar, whatever it is, Monisha, the
Sugar that I
Quesadilla
bought,
one.
Yeah, that's the Hadar one.
the Hadar,
Yeah,
and it's not really icing sugar. I think they've
No.
just take sugar and they ground it up really fine.
So it doesn't have that
It- yeah,
powdery
It doesn't have the
consistency.
powdery consistency. I guess you need cornstarch to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised because I think you could do it with potato starch, maybe. I don't know. I
Or
don't know.
tapioca starch maybe.
I don't know the science behind that. So, okay, so this is what you do is you pour that caramel substance over the
Oh, look how
matzahs.
like how nice that looks oozing over there. That looks amazing.
I'm gonna swish it
That
all
smells
around.
really good, by the way.
Well, what can be bad?
I
Brown
know,
sugar
that's true.
and fat. You know, brown sugar and fat, what can be fat even though it's margarine? Okay, this goes into a preheated 375-degree oven.
Good. And the other thing's probably almost ready too, the crust.
Yeah. And you know what? I put it in the wrong oven.
What's okay, because you have the other one ready anyway, so it's good.
I'm gonna do this anyways.
She's putting that one into 375, you said?
Yeah.
Good. And then actually, one year my mom made with strawberry with chocolate on the base. It was delicious. On top of the graham, there was painted chocolate.
What are
And
you
it was
telling me?
the strawberry frozen with
Oh,
a
yeah,
piece of
that's
chocolate
good.
bottom. That was a really good one. Although my sister's allergic to strawberries, and I know Tina is as well too. So Tina, I won't make that one for you.
Okay, we're gonna wait for those things to come out of the oven. So we're gonna start with the third. What time is it? We still have lots of time.
Yeah, it's 8:04.
The third dessert. Are you familiar with this book? Passover by Design by Susie Fishbein. Lots of good recipes in that one. So I came across this recipe here for giant zebra fudge cookies.
Those are good ones.
I make something similar to that during the year, and I was surprised to find a Passover recipe like that. So this recipe, which I'm going to send to you, is also an easy one to make. Into the mixer bowl, you add a half a cup of vegetable oil, which I'm not going to do because I did it in advance. 2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of matzo meal, 1 cup of good quality Dutch processed cocoa powder,
What could be bad?
and 4 eggs, teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now that's a new one for me because I had never seen Passover baking powder until last year. And confectionery sugar, which you need at the end. So I've mixed that up.
What page?
It's page number 235, 234, 235. I'll put that
Okay.
down here in
No,
the
I
chat.
have it here. That's one.
Oh, that's very, very.
Have you
handy.
made it? Have you made it? They're
No.
very good.
No.
Kids love them.
Yeah, the kids love them.
So
David
this,
loves them.
this
too.
is what
Okay.
it ends up looking like when you, after you mix it up. And what you do, it's kind of messy. And I think I'm going to put on rubber gloves because I was doing it this afternoon and my hands were stained with chocolate. I had to put some lemon juice on it.
I have people here saying that also the Passover by Design, the Passover biscotti recipe, people are recommending as well too. With Mona's right on it today. She's got lots of suggestions actually. With
I apologize, ladies. I live in
great.
South
Mona,
Florida.
I'm giving you a shout out. Mona.
I make that one too.
Passover
Passover biscotti.
biscotti with, she says
And my job for the Seders is bake the desserts.
oh, that's good. So you always want to try new things.
What's her job?
You bake the dessert.
That's why I have,
The last couple of years, the last 2 years, COVID years, we had our, I don't know if you heard about this, we held our Seders in a tent in the yard.
A big one, like one of those big.
We rented a big
A big
party
tent.
tent. And how many people did we have last year?
So, you know, we
18?
had restrictions here, and so obviously last year we didn't have restrictions, but the first year I think it was like you could only have 25 people, and which is normal for most people or even large. So our cities are pretty big. And
This year, I think we're
so
having 30.
this year, you can see COVID wise, we're kind of getting back to normal, even though we still obviously I think we should be careful. But yeah, there'll be close to 30 people, but in the tent we had about 20 to 25 people. It was very special.
It was special. We had rented heaters because it was a little cold.
It's pretty funny. But those are memories. I mean, I think terrible as the things were with COVID, we tried to make the best of it. Passover's always been a pretty big one in our family.
Why
and
did you wet the,
Oh, why did I wet the paper?
yeah,
So that it sticks, parchment paper has a life of its own. So you could do a couple of things. You can wet it to hold it down, or you could grease it, which I didn't want to do because I didn't want to have to clean it.
and some people are saying
And you
here,
crunch it up,
yes, yeah, that's what Noreen said. Some people crumple it.
crumple it up, and then it lies flat. And I've done that in a Pyrex. Regular Pyrex. So it'd be like, just like that. And it releases, I don't know, some of the whatever.
Culture, stiffness in it. There we go. I guess it wasn't just for sound for today. That's why you wet it instead. Hard with the microphone.
And plus I wanted it smooth for the cookie.
So that's a tip.
I'm
To
gonna
give
just
a little
check
bit
on
of
this oven.
spray a little bit of water on your pan, or just trickle a little water on your pan, and then that's a good tip.
So I did a silly thing. I turned on the wrong oven, the oven that I did make pasted it.
Which is classic,
I
right?
have 2 ovens.
Look, even a pro will make a rookie mistake sometimes. That's because we got a lot going on over here. It's pretty busy.
All right, so these cookies, you need to use this crazy confectionery sugar because I don't have any oven. And I'm gonna put some in a little bowl.
Pretend it's a bowl.
Pretend it's a bowl.
We don't have much for Pesach yet, so
I don't have it all out.
we're making do. Well, see, that really doesn't look, yeah, you're right. That doesn't really look like powdered
No, it's
sugar,
sugar.
but it's
It's really sugar that's just ground up
yeah,
fine.
fine sugar. It works.
So this is the messy part. Your hands are the best equipment in the kitchen as long as they're clean. You don't have fake nails.
Yeah, but you don't want one to fall off. That would be terrible.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put some gloves on because it's really yucky. Sticky.
I don't mind that feeling. I don't like that feeling either.
I think these gloves are too big on me, but we'll see what happens.
So what, did you roll them? Is that
We
what
roll them
happens?
in balls. I want them the same size, so I'm gonna use a tablespoon measure. I'm gonna spray so it doesn't stick to it.
So that's a good tip too. If you're using anything like that, just for something for a dough or measurements, if it's something sticky,
Honey,
honey is a good one too. You put a little bit of Pam or spray.
I'm not gonna bore you with making them all. I'm just gonna show you the idea and then I'll show you the finished product. You roll them around and then you roll them in the sugar.
Pull back so they can see that.
Make a bunch of them.
Yeah, you can definitely, Rosie, you're right. You can definitely use a cookie scoop. Problem is, or a melon baller that looks like one. Problem is, we don't have too many of our Passover things out yet because it's not a full. She's done the counter here and brought up some of the things. But you're right. Like if you have some of those things for Passover, melon baller would be perfect.
Or an ice cream scoop,
Or yeah, that's what she was saying. A scoop. That's right.
a small ice cream scoop.
And actually, Mona has also said the Liebers makes a kosher for Passover confectioner sugar.
Okay, who's selling it?
So do you know where to buy it? These are good tips that we're sharing.
I live in South Florida, guys.
Oh,
What did
so
she
come on,
say?
she's in South Florida. That's where you can find the
Oh.
good stuff.
Not here in
I
Toronto.
would be good if you could
Bring
find
some
it.
home for
Yeah, bring
next year.
some. You could auction that off. That'd be good.
Okay, so you put it on a cookie tray and you're gonna bake them at 350 for 18 minutes, like so, which I'm not gonna do. And when you
The
finish,
magic of
they come
television
out
here.
looking like this.
Let's see.
There they are.
Delicious.
And if you had better confectionery sugar, they would look a lot
Maybe
nicer.
take off your gloves now.
You can use the gluten-free matzah meal too.
Oh, that's
Yes.
a good idea too.
What do they make that
It's
out
not
of?
the same consistency, but, or sometimes I use half cake meal and half matzah meal.
So what is the gluten-free matzah meal made out of?
Probably, but I'll go check. I have
Oh,
some here.
I'm interested because I have a granddaughter who's,
Granddaughter and a grandson who are celiac, and you know Judy's got that in her house too. So it's
okay.
nice to have those options.
We've tried to do the gluten-free matzah to make matzah balls and it's just not the same. We finally gave up on it.
That's for my mother-in-law who's gluten sensitive, not gluten-free, but gluten sensitive. She makes the gluten-free matzo balls and they're very weird consistency.
Okay, I need the tip.
Here it is. This is what it looks like having come out of the oven.
So here's the crack.
So the next thing you do is you take,
And you could use gluten-free matzah to do this. So you could make it for celiac for sure.
and then you take chocolate chips.
Well, it's still warm, right?
Right out of the oven.
Oh, we're saying here, so Mona has said that Aromas sells that. I think that's in Florida, right? And the Grove. Well, I was in the Grove. That's terrific in there. That's in Florida. So gluten-free matzah meal is made of various different starches. Okay, she said she wouldn't use the oat one for a crust because it's more like hay. Yeah, I think that wouldn't be great. That would be
Potato
great.
flour, potato starch, a lot of potato stuff.
So that's the one that's in the-
Tapioca starch, yeah.
yeah. So it's all those different ones. It's tapioca and potato. That's interesting. How's it taste, Judy?
All right. My house is gluten-free 20, all year round, so.
I think I wouldn't bother. I
Yeah.
think I would survive on fruit
It's
and
the
veg.
same thing, even the cake meal. There's also lots of
It's all the
potatoes.
same,
It's a lot of it potato starch. Yeah.
just a different texture.
So now, so she's sprinkling it with those, are those milk chocolate? What do you have there? Dark chocolate?
Parve,
These
parve.
ones are parve. You could use whatever. I mean, as long as you don't mind if it's dairy, but you guys do what you like, right?
Better to do parve than anybody can eat them anytime. Most of all my Passover stuff is parve. I very seldom make dairy over Passover.
So I see it's hot enough that it really, the chocolate chips are starting to melt nicely.
And I'll just spread it around. There they go. Once again, I don't have the proper spatula to do it.
You know, I saw something that if you heat up the spoon first, like you put it on in the oven for a few seconds, then
That's
boom,
smart.
it'll act as a nice
Spread it.
smear the chocolate.
Mhm. That's a smart idea. Anyways, you get the idea. You sprinkle it all over there. It's supposed to come out tasting like candy bars, and I suppose it does. 'Cause it has similar ingredients.
Yeah, that's true. Be like a Passover Mars bar or something.
Yeah. A Heath bar, that's
Or
what
a
they
Heath
said.
bar. Oh, yeah, Heath bar. That'd be good. Score in the Canadian version is Score.
I'm sure there's an easier way to do this if I had proper equipment, but
Look, it shows how you really like you can make do and
Making
Passover. Like,
do.
you don't have to go out and buy. I mean, you do have a mixer and a Cuisinart, but you don't have to buy all the fancy stuff. I mean, look, this is working perfectly well. Looks great.
okay. Once that's spread around, try to get it as evenly as
Show everyone.
possible.
Actually, looks terrific.
I could have had more chocolate chips. Copies down, which are nuts.
If you're nut free, if you're not
You're
nut free,
free.
what kind do you recommend?
This is pecans. And I didn't buy crushed pecans. I only bought whole pecans, so I'm crushing them up.
Yeah, would be nice because it gives you that kind of praline kind of
That was the idea.
feeling, right? That'd be good.
Much better if they were ground. But they're not.
So ground, would you say ground or chopped?
I think maybe chopped,
Yeah.
but we're gonna eat it anyways. Even though it's like this. They suggested putting white chocolate drizzle over it.
You do anything for kids, you can put like sprinkles.
Sprinkles, that's what I did.
Yeah, for
sprinkles.
sure.
And I found some Passover sprinkles.
Ooh, looks
Yes.
good.
So let's take these nuts off here and put some sprinkles on this side.
Yeah, so hey Mona, thanks. Mona's also saying that she has a recipe that tells you to put it back into the oven for the chocolate, which is actually normally Judy would do that here too.
This is going back in the oven.
So after she does this, then it goes in for that final kind of like set. So here you're having fun decorating, and then
For kids.
that's where that chocolate will get that final, and the caramel, I guess, gets that final.
Going back in the
Yes.
oven.
And it goes. And then the other crust might be.
How much
right.
time do we have? I don't know what they've allowed us.
So guys, did you allow for about an hour? I'm just thinking it's now 8, so we still have another 15, 20 minutes. Are we okay with that from the time we started? Say let me know, and hopefully you guys will be good.
Okay. It's going back
We're
in the
having
oven.
fun as long as you want.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so the
Is the
crust
crust?
is ready now. There it is.
Crust is
Beautiful.
ready. And I'm
So you
gonna
don't want it to get brown. You just
Right.
want it to solidify.
solidify.
Okay, good.
And I'm gonna pour the custard into it.
Still nice and fluffy. I see. Good.
And I'm gonna stick it in the freezer. Now you have to start this dessert the day before. I forgot to tell you that. It's not a last minute dessert. It's an easy dessert, but not last minute. Now I have to get my other one, the finished one from the freezer. Assistant,
Yes.
could you get the other, the frozen one from the freezer, please?
That assistant has a very deep voice. And people are also saying that you can get Amazon
Mhm.
for, oh, maybe the shipping would be hard, let's say. So Amazon for, I guess, maybe are we saying for the powdered sugar? Maybe for the powdered sugar. Oh, no, let's see. Oh, no, so that's for the cookie scoop that looks like a melon baller. You can get that on Amazon. That's a nice tip. And I wonder if maybe you could also get the, oh yeah, this Rosalie says.
It's
the
really
scoops.
hard to prevent yourself from licking it, which I really would like to do, but I'm not going to do.
I know, it's really hard because you don't want, because there's raw eggs in it, although they've been kind of cooked, but then the meringue's not.
No.
So, but it is very
No,
tempting.
but there's a tip for that too. for people who are concerned about eating raw eggs. I'm not. I've been making this for years and no one's ever gotten sick on
We
it.
don't say it. We don't, we don't want this to be the
Because the
first.
lemon was hot. Okay, I'm not.
Her other assistant is shy for the camera.
There you go.
Just for the occasion.
So this is the one that's
Finish.
frozen. Well, I'll talk to you about eggs in a moment. And this goes into the freezer.
The one that's here, which is the one that'll be auctioned off, is the bigger one.
It's bigger.
And even nicer.
And we're going to make the meringue for the top.
To make the meringue. So you say you're not concerned about the eggs?
I've never, here in Canada and Ontario, we don't have a problem with salmonella.
We don't really, it's not much of an issue here. I know our friends in the States, I know my uncle Bruce has had some problem with that. But in the States, I know it's more of an issue. We're lucky that we don't really, but it still is always a good idea to be cautious.
I did read, excuse my back, a way to pasteurize your eggs at home. So I'm gonna give you the tip. You can find it online.
So hold on, maybe I'll walk over there so we can hear you more.
No, you don't have to watch me do dishes. I'll tell you.
All right, never mind. We'll stay here. And instead we'll admire this amazing cake. You're gonna see the amazing way it's finished off, which is beautiful. Now, what Rosie said, and it's true, you can buy pasteurized eggs,
I don't know if they're passed.
but that's the problem with Passover, exactly. So it is true, they now sell eggs, like egg whites, President's
And I
Choice here
have
sells
used them
them.
during the year.
And you can use those in the year, and that's great, because President's Choice have them, and Kosher Passover, egg whites. Oh, Dory is saying in the States, and she's in Pittsburgh, my cousin in Pittsburgh says you can get kosher for Passover, just pure egg whites in a carton, I guess. But it's not, we don't see those here. We don't get as many amazing products as you guys have in the States here. I don't know why. We have a big Jewish community here. It seems very strange. We should lobby for these things. But anyway, during the year, we have them. If you can find them, buy them. If not, Judy's gonna give us a tip in a moment.
Putting eggs into cold water in the pot. So the water covers the eggs. You have to have a thermometer. Have to let the eggs cook on a medium heat until they reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
140 degrees Fahrenheit.
Anything higher than that, the egg will cook.
So you take, so I'll just say, because she's washing over there, and so I'll just say quickly, again, so you take the eggs in their shells,
In cold water,
put them in cold water on the stove, turn on the heat
medium
till,
heat,
medium heat till 140 with it, so you need to have the thermometer inside.
yes.
Okay, 140, then quickly, what do? Take them off the heat.
You take them off the heat. No, you leave them, sorry, you leave them on the heat for
Sorry, I confused you.
you keep the temperature at 140, so you have to control the flame or the electricity. I have an electric stove, so that it stays just at 140. It can't go below 140 or it can't get higher than 140. So you have to watch it, and you have to stand there and watch the thermometer to make sure it doesn't go any higher for 5 minutes. And supposedly those eggs are pasteurized.
Wow. okay.
Now, I did try it.
She didn't try, and we're still alive to tell the story. No
I haven't
salmonella.
used them. Where are they? I don't even know where they are.
They're out there,
Oh, here
they're
they
they're
are.
behind.
I did try it.
So should we do an experiment and crack one and see what it looks like?
Yeah, I did
See if it's
try
even
it. They
cooked?
may be cooked. I did try it, and I marked them with little X's, so I knew that those were the ones that were pasteurized. So I'm going to see what they look like.
It's a good tip, actually. I mean, it makes sense, because if it kills bacteria at 140 degrees, we'd have to get some sort of scientist in here, a microbiologist of some sort, to see, but I would assume then 140 degrees, the reason they tell you that is because it would kill any type of bacteria. Let's hope.
And I've never done any investigation about acid, like lemon juice. I don't know if that.
But could you do some sort of like, Swiss meringue or something that would?
Oh, yes, Swiss meringue. Yeah.
So maybe what is a Swiss meringue for people who don't know?
Swiss meringue is you make a simple syrup of sugar and water. It has to reach a certain temperature. I don't have it at my fingertips right now what it is. And you beat up the meringue whites like normal. And then as it's beating, instead of adding sugar to it, you're adding this simple syrup, hot syrup to the meringue.
And so then that would kill off
Yeah.
any bacteria. That's a safer way to eat egg whites if you want meringue.
So let's see. Get another glass here.
It's actually important, right? Because I mean, I know it is, especially if people are immunocompromised and are concerned about bacteria in their eggs, they really say that we should be careful with that. So those are some pretty good tips.
Okay, let's try these.
Anything?
Pretty good.
Okay, they don't look like they cooked. That's good. All right, that looks like a normal egg, and it has been, well, we hope, pasteurized.
Well, I could taste it.
No.
See what happens.
It would take more than that. You wouldn't happen immediately. Oh my gosh.
See what happens tomorrow morning.
No, we definitely don't want to take that chance. Tomorrow is her birthday, so we don't want to take any chances.
Just checking these eggs to make sure there's no blood in it. Often in the springtime, this time of year, I find that there's blood in eggs. Sometimes twin eggs also.
Actually, one year, the year that you had 3 grandsons, remember when Passover we cracked one and there
Yes.
were 3 yolks in it. It was a triple yolk. The year of the 3 grandsons. Maybe it was a good omen for that. I don't usually believe in that kind of stuff, but it was pretty unusual to see 3 yolks in one egg. I wonder if anyone's ever seen 4 yolks.
So what I'm doing is I'm using 3 egg whites.
Do you ever do it in your hand, in your palm?
I do. Just like
And
that.
they always have like funny things like with a bottle to suck up the yolk. I find that sometimes just takes more time than just using your hand. Any blood? No, it's all good. So we know that if we find blood in it, it's not a kosher egg, which is why she was doing that. I'm sure you women know that, but just in case. Okay, I don't think it seems very appetizing to eat an egg with blood in it. Forget it.
Okay, these pasteurized egg whites are going in the mixing bowl. I see a little bit of cooking going on. Let's see. There's a little bit. Look at this.
Let's take a look.
See that?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Okay, so maybe it's
Hopefully.
enough to have pasteurized it, but not to have actually taken away the proper consistency.
With these egg yolks, I figured out what to do with the leftover egg yolks. Any suggestions?
Anyone else puddings or something? Egg yolk recipe, let us know.
Same thing. I'm getting the whites up, foamy. Tablespoons of sugar to the egg whites.
I'll say it again because it's on and stuff. 6 tablespoons of sugar. With 3 egg yolks. On television, there's a whole crew of people watching. All Where's your birthday? It's
Italy.
Where were you in Italy?
Florence. And because they gave us a bin. All the dirty dishes in the bin, and these young girls who the chef referred to as bambinos, which would be appropriate today, would come as soon as the bin was filled up, would come and take away the dirty dishes.
Wow, that's
And I
amazing.
thought how terrific that would be to have someone like that at home.
Rachel, I think it keeps muting out and we don't hear anything.
Wow, that's all good. Sounds awesome. You can turn down your volume. I could use ours, but I want to make sure for those who want to hear. So, if it's bothering you, temporarily turn
Judy, you're muting out. No one can hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
It was a failure. The eggs that were pasteurized in 140-degree temperature water will not whip. Maybe good for eating in other ways. If you were a bodybuilder and you were going to eat raw eggs, yes, but not for making meringue. So I'm going to throw them out and start again.
I'm here to help. I'll crack them quickly. How's that? Hi, everyone. I'm not usually on this side of the camera. We're in two places at once.
Don't do it.
Actually, it's a good experiment though, to know.
So they whip better if they're warm, room temperature.
That's a good tip to tell people.
I'm going to warm the bowl. Bowl has to be very dry. We're almost finished. And you're going to see the fun part.
There is a very fun part that you'll be very surprised, I think.
Let's dry these up really well. Does that ever happen on television? I don't know. I never see them have failures.
So that's because they whisk it away. Okay.
Don't you remember when Julia Child dropped the chicken on the floor?
Oh, of course, of course, of course. Thank you. The other thing you can do, they say add a little cream of tartar, but there's no cream of tartar for Passover. So you can take a lemon. We have this little bit of lemon here and rub the rind of the lemon on the bowl. Just a little bit of acid helps whipping the meringue.
Really? That's interesting. I never did that. That's smart. I wonder why that does that. Some chemical reaction of some sort.
Try again. I hope this is dry.
So
Never heard of that one before.
Lemon?
has anyone done that?
Warm bowl.
Sound. A bit loud, I know. Sugar.
We're not hearing anything again.
Because it's not on mute, it's just that the sound is very, very loud.
Now we can hear you, but before, a minute ago, we couldn't hear again.
I
It's
just
like,
turned,
it's freezing.
oh, it's not on this side, Tina, that might just be you then.
I don't know. No, I think it's everyone is finding it.
Okay, here it doesn't look like it. We're not unstable here, so it must have been maybe because of the sound. So right now I've moved the camera a little closer to me and the audio is on the camera.
Okay,
Probably why, but it's very loud, that's why.
And I want it stiff. Or I want it soft, now it's stiff.
We're making stiff peaks. I'm just repeating because it's the audio is on this camera.
And shiny.
How many egg whites?
So that was 3 egg whites to 6 tablespoons of sugar. We put it on a high speed. And I like that tip of that little bit of the lemon rubbed in the bowl. So no juice, right, Mom? It's just the kind of the oil of the lemon. That's good.
It's beautiful.
Take a look. Nice and shiny. They're all right. So there really are just so few ingredients. You've got eggs, lemon, and sugar in the actual main component.
But you can also do this in individual serving dishes. 2 years ago, my nephew got married, and it was during COVID, and he had a very small wedding in the yard, and he asked me to do the dessert. And this is one of his favorites. And I did them in ramekins, individual ramekins for 28 people.
That's a labor of love for your nephew. 28 of them, that's tough.
Oh, that looks amazing.
This has been frozen overnight.
So those are nice stiff peaks, nice and glossy, right? Yeah, that looks amazing.
Pile it on. See, it's really stiff.
So right onto the frozen base. So when you had it the first time, the meringue was on the top as well, right? So you just, what you were saying is that the only thing you didn't know until you'd seen that recipe now
That the
over 30
meringue
years
was
ago,
incorporated into the,
is that the whites were incorporated in as well. Okay, that's interesting. So that gave it the fluffiness, and it does cut very nicely even when it's frozen.
frozen solid even.
Yeah.
We usually leave it out about 15 minutes before we serve it. But occasionally I've served it right from the freezer and it does cut nicely.
So Anna asked about the tip of rubbing something in the bowl. So sorry, it was a bit loud. I do apologize. So so one of the tips that Judy said is you can use it. It's not Passover cream of tartar, but with Passover there are, you can't find it cream of tartar. So you can instead put some acid in the bowl. So you rub the lemon skin. So not to make it wet, but just the skin, some oil around the kind of bottom of the bowl. And that acts as that little extra acid and helps with the meringue to rise, to fluff up. Very cool. So I really didn't know that. I knew about the cream of tartar.
That's a hack that works. Pasteurizing the eggs did not work.
Well, it was fun, but I think kind of fun that we tried it, right? Because I mean, it is, did you see that online?
Yeah.
I wonder if you have to have like very precise thermometer. It's got to maybe be very, very, spot on. There's 1 degree over, just as we saw cooked it.
Okay, now here's the fun part. Now, when you make a lemon meringue pie, it tells you to stick it in the oven for, I don't know, 15 minutes, I think, to cook the meringue on the top. But I don't have that type of a broiler. Let's see, we'll make some peaks.
There's a hole in that side, right around by you. Turn it that way, you can see that. Perfect. So it's nice to make peaks because what you're going to see is what she's going to do afterwards. Now, some people you can make it, you can double the recipe. I've seen my mom do it. My husband loves, I was talking to my husband here, because he loves to eat, my husband. So my husband loves the meringue. It's his favorite part. So when she makes it for him, she doubles it. So she uses 6 eggs and maybe 12 tablespoons of sugar. And so you get like 2 layers. And that way you get this beautiful, like, big puff of white. And you can do that if you want more drama, I guess. Or if my husband's coming over for dinner, so. Mark down
Okay.
that tip.
You can buy in the hardware store a little gadget like this.
Looks like a gun. It is not a gun.
For some
Looks like a
reason,
cannon.
the type of oven I have, you can't put something like this in the broiler because you can't leave the door open. Like normally, if I was to use a lemon meringue pie, I would put it in the past when I had a different type of oven. I'd put it in and you'd leave the door open and watch it and make sure it didn't get too well done. Also, this is frozen and you don't want it to melt. So I came up with this idea. If I can work it.
They get stuck because there's safety stuff.
This little interesting little blowtorch. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, you just click it down.
It was $17.
It's filled with butane.
Like a lighter.
Here we go. So here.
But many years ago, see, I don't like this. It works. but it's very
finicky,
slow
right?
and it's finicky. Many years ago, when I was involved with Beth Tikva Synagogue and the catering, the ladies who catered at Beth Tikva, we made these all the time, and we actually sold them as a fundraiser. And we had our own sisterhood kitchen. We came up with this idea
This is quite hilarious, by the way.
to use a
Okay, this is really
blowtorch,
scary.
and it works beautifully.
Just watch your eyebrows and your hair, please.
I don't
Okay.
advise you to do it. I advise you to use your broiler on your
Or you
stove.
can, they just sell those butane ones that have sometimes a higher power. Yours is a smaller one. Okay, please be very careful. I'm just saying, please do not try this at home. Is it okay that it's making that sound?
That's the gas.
I know, but it frightens me a little bit. Okay. Whoa. Okay,
you go.
good. Perfect. Okay, this is like a science experiment now.
Now watch this. Isn't that beautiful?
So it's toasting them right at the top. It's
And
amazing.
cooking the egg whites.
You guys can see that the smell is so nice too. You make it as dark as light as you like, but it's nice to make the tops like that so nice and. Oh, like this, it really does work.
It's beautiful.
Where do you get that refilled?
It's a hardware store.
And it's all food grade, like this.
Yeah. It's just the fire. You're not getting the gas. Just like a gas stove. And that's it. Put it back in the. Come on out, come on. There we go. Good. Then it goes back in the freezer, and you can make it in advance. I've made them a month in advance. Just wrap it up really well with the aluminum foil.
Actually, aluminum's a good tip because saran sticks to the.
No,
meringue.
don't use saran.
Yeah.
And take it out 15 minutes before you just serve it. Release the spring, put it on a pretty plate. You can decorate it with some chocolate covered strawberries or other chocolate covered fruit. And it's a wow, people say, wow, they're very impressed.
People always, really, always people say wow.
Wow.
Even when we've had it a million times,
It's
they
a
say
wow. It's a
every
wow
time.
dessert. So I'm putting it back in the freezer, and I think I will embellish it a little bit more for the person who is going to win it. It's going to have more meringue on the top
Oh, my husband will be happy.
and look fancier. So good luck to whoever wins it, and just have to make an appointment to come and pick it up.
The
And
highest bidder.
also you'll get the springform pan, which is a new brand new springform pan.
Oh, that's great. So it can be used for Passover. Very
Yes.
nice. That's amazing.
Okay.
That's-
Assistant. Come and put these in
The
the
assistance
freezer,
is coming
please.
for it. And that's, and the bid is going to where? I forgot what's the sisterhood had said. It's going to. for
It's
some-
going to the
for-
Linus
Oh, the
Fund,
Linus Funds, right.
and
which is
my
amazing.
donation is going to Global Seder.
Oh, nice.
And
So
the-
again, this is,
both of them
be
go in the
careful.
back in
This
the
is
freezer.
extreme danger. So please be careful.
Use your broiler.
Yes, his broiler is probably a lot safer. She's had a lot of experience with this. So Judy, so you made, let's just review. So you made the amazing lemon. You made these
Oh, I forgot about the pan.
these zebra cookies. Oh, here we are. Which now you can see them up close. These are delicious, by the way. And these are really, really nice. And then the crack as well, which Judy's getting as well too. The crack is divine. And so now we already have, here it is coming out of the oven. Wow, that looks amazing. And now the pecans got toasted as well too, so that's really
Yes, and then
good.
when it's cool, you just
Oh, you
crack
don't
it up
do
in little
that.
pieces and put it in a nice footed bowl, or
It's great as a hostess gift if you're going somewhere too.
package it up pretty. Of course, it'll be a lot prettier than this because I did it fast, and the nuts will be, nicer.
And
It'll taste good.
it'll taste good anyways. It'll be delicious. Amazing. Does anyone have any questions? And by the way, you can see that means that Judy made 3 different recipes in an hour. I mean, the ones we were schmoozing, if you take out the schmoozing, if yours more of a focus, it's about an hour. So for people that get anxious about making desserts and making, here, I'll turn it around here for a second, just while Judy's, or I'll turn it onto my video just while Judy's cleaning up there for a second. But for people that, for people that are anxious about making desserts, or if you've been asked to make a dessert and come over to someone's house, here you can see in about an hour, you can make 3 really impressive desserts. Cookies, the crack, which is more like a snacking fun dessert, delicious, and a showstopper. So for people who are anxious, don't be anxious, just do it. It's super fun, super amazing, and super delicious, which is the most important.
Where are the recipes?
So, okay, so let me see. So the recipes, Judy, maybe come on over to this side now, because then we can actually face together. So the recipes we're going to send tonight to the organizers, and they're going to send it out to the people who registered. It's too hard to send them and share them on just the chats. So this way, instead, they'll be typed out and they can be shared as either a PDF or a Google Doc, whichever one the organizers say is easier, and I'll be in charge of that. So no worries.
Okay, what are these?
And I see the other assistant wants to eat things already. Look at she's.
You're tasting.
He wants to say.
I wanted to eat the raw cookie dough.
Well, he's smart. It's delicious. Any questions? Oh, I see there's a couple of things in the chat. Let me just take a look. So let's see here. So first of all, thanks for everyone. Okay, so there are some bids that you can make. And again, thanks so much. People are saying thank you. And that's so nice for Judy. Amazing. I can tell you right now, the kitchen smells amazing. I'm obviously right here, and it's just
I
wafting.
need one of those bambinos to clean up.
We need the bambino to come and clean up like at your cooking school. That would be even better. I actually would love that. But I'm just so happy that I've been able to come here and cook with my mom. She's taught me how to cook, and you should share this with your grandkids or your kids and try these recipes because they are delicious.
And we've made them over the years and they come out beautiful every
They
time.
come out beautiful every time. And I see here, I see Dory from Pittsburgh says she loved it. More of Judy. Okay, no problem. We'll work that out. We can do some private shows for you. And thanks for everyone. I mean, the truth is that it's great that people can be from Florida, from Pittsburgh, from Palm Desert, from Toronto, from Thornhill, Richmond Hill, wherever you are, that we can be together this way. One of the nice things. Oh, and someone from Rockville, Maryland. Wow, that's amazing, actually. I don't think we can send the cake to Rockville, Maryland, but maybe in dry ice or something like that we could try. But you're welcome to make a bid anyways or to donate. And again, the bad thing about COVID is that we had to all be apart. But the good thing is we learned how to do things like this with Zoom, and it really is very special.
And take a chance. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
That's it.
And if we have failures like the eggs, it happens. So
just laugh at it. What are you going to do, right? If Julia Child can drop a chicken, we can overcook some eggs. It happens. And let's see. I have one more thing here. Let's see. Noreen says here. Let's see. Oh, wow. You actually send a honey cake and Hamantaschen every year to Boston. Well, that's good, actually. That works because it's dry stuff, right? I don't think I want to send something frozen.
I think we used, when people were in the service in the army, they used to send
That's true, actually. That's
food
true.
all the time.
I know that when I was living in Israel for a year, my mom sent me, we have special Hanukkah cookies and Hamantaschen. Oh, sorry.
How about taking a
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. I'll share one last story about my mom and showing you how amazing she's always willing to take a chance. I was living in Israel for a year and I love this turkey recipe that she has. And they didn't back then sell full turkeys in Israel. They sold a turkey breast or turkey wing, but in the 1990s, they weren't selling full turkeys in Israel. And amazingly, she came to visit me with a full frozen turkey under her seat in Air Canada. I think it was probably Ella at the time. And I don't know how they let her through. I don't think
security was very
I don't
different.
know,
in
really,
those days.
security was there, but even just like food getting over the border, I have no idea how they allowed that. But she brought that turkey and cooked it at a friend's house in Jerusalem, and it was delicious.
Well, my sister just told me that she paid an enormous amount of money, $9 for a rye bread in Palm Desert, California. So I'm going to visit her next week. Maybe I'll take her
Bring
a
her
rye bread.
That's a great gift. Bring her 2 for that price. Come on, we can get 2 for the price of 1. That's amazing. If there's any other questions, we're happy to take it. Anyone would like to say something, great. If not, I mean, this has been a joy for me. I'm the Ed McMahon to the Johnny Carson over here. I'm just the sidekick. But it really is really a lot of fun. I hope we can do it again for you sometime. And Judy, any last words?
We should do a
Can we
podcast.
see the zebra cookies, please?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They're delicious too. These ones really. My husband said
Oh,
they're delicious.
wow. And those are pesactic? Incredible.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? They're amazing. So these ones are really good. This was in the Passover by Design, and we said that was on page number 234. So if you own that text, if you own that book, you can find that recipe on page 234.
I don't own it, but maybe you guys can share it with the package.
We're
Yeah,
going to.
we'll take a photo.
But the interesting thing is the first year last year that I was such a thing as baking powder, because for baking powder for Pesach. I've never heard of it. I thought it was an leavening agent.
Do you think it goes against everything?
Yeah, I was really surprised, but Geffen makes it, so.
And it works.
It's for Sephardim.
No,
No, it's not a.
No, I know now, but when it first came out, I don't know, go
And
no.
that was for everybody, yeah.
sort of like, what else is with this starting that now we can.
Do you have to use it in the cookies?
You have to use it.
I don't know, maybe it would come out flat.
You know, I have a version of these cookies that a friend of mine in Jerusalem, it's my mom's friend, who's also my friend too, taught me. And it's literally just egg whites and cocoa powder and sugar, and that's it. And you mix that up and you put them out.
It's
and
more like a,
it's like,
crispy meringue.
it's almost like a meringue, but you don't have to whip them. You literally just mix it with a fork. It's a very easy recipe. I can include it when I find it, and they're
I
delicious.
think they're called mud cookies.
I think they're mud. That's exactly.
Yeah, I
it.
think a neighbor of mine who
And
was
they're
lived in Montreal, she makes them. They're called mud cookies.
And the beauty of that is that there's no gluten in those at all, because it's just the eggs and sugar and cocoa powder, and you can definitely
Yes.
as well too. So that's a version. They kind of end up looking less spread than this, but they also, if you dust them with cocoa powder or powdered sugar, they end up looking crackled like this. They're just a little bit softer, and there's a little smaller and a little softer. They're a little bit more mushy.
Yeah, these are crispy. You can hear the crisp.
Yeah, crack, but they're delicious as well. So that was a lot of fun.
That's it.
It's
Any-
my pleasure, Judy and Rachel, to thank you very, very much for this wonderful, wonderful evening. I know, Judy, from past experience of tasting your baked goods, that you are a terrific cook, baker, and you have taught your daughter very well, because she does the same.
Thanks,
I
Tina.
give you kudos for this great evening, and I can't wait to hear who won the bids. And it's our pleasure, and we hope that you will come back another time and bake or cook for us again. We enjoyed
Now you have
having
to become challenge. We got to do something even more interesting, even better.
So I wish you all a kosher Pesach, and if you're
Happy Pesach.
a happy Pesach, and if you're having seders, good luck. It's 2.5 weeks away,
Which
so
is crazy.
start getting organized. I start the day after Purim.
Wow.
So I'm going to turn this over to Noreen, who will, I guess, let us know who has won. So
Yes,
thank you again, Judy, Rachel. Give my love to David and the kids.
That's my niece from my niece. That's my aunt from marriage. So that's why she's saying that. So hi, Tina, we miss you. Can't wait to see you. We'll miss you. at
Okay.
Passover.
Okay, so Anna Bloom has won the lemon cake.
hey,
And since Anna is my aunt, I'll give her privately Judy's address where to pick it up.
Okay.
And
so I can arrange it.
sure, and I want those zebra fudge cookies, so I won those.
All right.
Don't eat them all before I
Yeah,
get there.
I'll make some more.
There's some get more, a lot more dough.
Oh, okay, okay.
What about the others?
Anyway, it was a pleasure listening and watching, and I'm waiting for the recipes, and
Well, we
yeah,
should-
very good. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Okay,
I
bye-bye.
apologize. Guys, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for having us. Chag Sameach and
Sameach.
Passover, and
Chag
enjoy.
Sameach. It was great.
Yeah, it really was.
Chag Sameach, everybody.
Chag
Thanks,
Sameach.
Sameach.
Jean,
Hi-
thank you
hi,
for
Jean.
arranging this. This is great.
And the little tips are great too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true.
Never knew about the lemon.
It's my birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday
And
to
to
you.
you.
Happy birthday
Birthday
to you. Happy birthday,
Dear
dear Judy.
Judy.
Happy birthday, Judy.
To you.
May you celebrate many, 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 many more
Amen.
in good health and with
The
lots of
Ides.
love and family.
Thank
The
you.
Right.
Ides of March.
Yeah, I
Did
do
you
my-
bake yourself a cake?
Exactly.
No, I did not bake myself a cake.
Don't worry, there's things planned.
My daughters are entertaining for me on Sunday.
But then we'll be seeing each other before then. There's lots of things planned. Don't worry.
Okay.
We're gonna have a lot of fun.
It's a surprise.
Okay, so Ellen, I think you can, or whoever started the recording can stop.
And you'll let us know, either Doreen or Noreen or whoever,